Cancel culture is getting expelled from the society in which one person has been deemed to have committed a social crime, past or present, is dealt with in the same form of terminated employment, public humiliation, or total boycott altogether. There's a disagreement about when the phenomenon was created, with some saying it has been with us in different forms since centuries. But what makes cancel culture so unique? In a sense, toward time is the fact that its effect is now much larger than a specific crowd or locality. It's the entire social media audience. Any news spreads rather quickly on social media, but mad news spreads quicker, especially when it's about a career ending tweet from a famous author, actor, or scientist. People hailing from almost all fields have been forced to accept cancel culture to some extent. So, it is fair to say it's no longer a punishment only for the elites. Take Amelia Van Zau's story, for example. She's a young author who was about to debut a three-book trilogy in 2019. That was until readers of a small private online group discovered that the book mentions a fictional character which offends the idea of race relations. On came a slew of furious tweets accusing her of being blind to reality, lacking education, and many other worse things. Zhao subsequently posted an apology, which often happens, and she, out of embarrassment, asked the publishers not to publish her book at the time. What about her book was so offensive? You and I would never know. The book was eventually corrected and released. Well, no harm done, right? While Zhao was never truly cancelled, her predicament is a prime example of what happens on a daily basis to people who feel pressured to not speak their mind on a certain issue. The creative field is perhaps just as impacted as the political one, with shows getting cancelled or amended regularly. These days, books are being pulled from the shelves and so much more. Think of the famous TV shows from the 90s. Think if they were to be released in the current century, how many of them would have been cancelled? There are other forms of cancellation too. For example, the ones where the mob dislikes a particular celebrity or a show and goes out to berate every company associated with them to cancel out their affiliation. Otherwise, the company risks being cancelled themselves. Cancel culture is often referred to as a guilty unless proven innocent process, in which the victim is only ever let off the hook if there is an overwhelming support of evidence in their corner. Forgetting big social figures and celebrities, the much larger victim of this is the average person. The reason being that these average people neither have the social credit nor the financial capital to bounce back from these cancellations. These people often find it exceptionally difficult to revive their career because no employer wants to hire a person that's been cancelled in fear that the online bullies might come for them next. Cancel culture is essentially a social justice system where no amount of punishment is enough, irrespective of what crime you've committed. Social media certainly does not help this problem. The conversations we have online are devoid of human contact, no facial expression, no voice, and no tones. This leads to people dehumanizing the person that they're talking to. It becomes hard for people to empathize with a human that they have never met. What does it say about a society if we get offended at everything and the only way for us to get over it is to stop the person from speaking entirely? Perhaps it's not the J.K. Rowlings or the Kevin Harts of the world who are a true victim of cancel culture. Perhaps it's people like you and me, the average person who is now afraid to share what he thinks about anything, fearing that he might get cancelled.